exciting session. And now I would like to invite our mentor, Azhar Sir, who is a full stack developer, a freelancer, and a podcaster, to enlighten us all in this session.
So, are you there?
Hello, 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 hello. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir, you.
yeah, you're
Okay,
audible.
perfect, perfect, perfect. At the end of the time, only I got certain conflicts, but now it looks fine. Okay. Hello. Is all done? Shall we begin or what? Actually, I missed few parts, I guess.
Yeah, so we just got done with introducing the mentor for tonight's evening. And now we'll go ahead with your mentoring session.
Okay, perfect. So yesterday we have already decided, right? But let's see how many of you are new here. Is anyone new or all the people are coming from yesterday?
All the
Anyone
new
new?
attendees can, come up in the chat box and they can come up with the emojis.
I knew. Okay.
Sonu Kumar Singh is a new attendee. We have Shah Shabir Ahmed. We have Dipanshu Midha, Mitlesh. Hello, everyone. Then we have Sabah Kushar, Manav Parmar,
Okay, so
Vaibhav.
it seems like a lot of people are there, like they are just new, they are joining from today only. So Tanvi, could you please refer them like what they should do to get the first videos?
Yeah, sure. So all the new attendees, what you can do is you can connect with us and you can drop your mails on our official mail, that is Geeks for Geeks LPU. You can drop us a mail and you'll be provided with the access to Google Drive, wherein you can avail all the previous attended sessions and you can get the access to them.
Perfect. Okay, now let's begin. So today what we are going to do is we are directly going to jump to the actual coding and everything, how we are going to set up the entire environment and everything. So let's begin from setting the environment first. Okay, and yesterday I got a lot of feedback for blurry screens or something. Is it fine today? How's the quality? Still blurry, fine, fine.
Clear. It's not. It's not that clear.
Okay.
Quite blurry it is.
We can do one thing, I guess. Let me just turn off all this. No solution. Okay, give me 1 minute and resolve this. If we come across to certain situations. Okay, so just to make it in a better quality, I'm sharing the entire screen. Is it visible now? And how is the quality?
Yeah, perfectly fine. It's clear.
You're right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Okay, lovely. Okay, so you will miss my face again, but it's fine. Quality is more important than here. Now, okay, so we are going to set a lot of things, like few are something like obviously the coding environment where we will be coding and the packages and everything, right? So let's just begin from Node itself. Node, VS Code, and I guess for now this two is needed. This two are needed. Okay, so firstly, just it's a simple website. Just go to the node.js, or you can just search on Google and get on the first link only, and go to this page and download the recommended one, of course, and just set up all the node environments. And of course, before moving forward with setting up all the environments and everything, let me remind you some of this stuff, that what we are, how we should take all of these things in a very serious note. So few things needs to be there, like just take out your notes, because some of you might be coding along with me and some of you might be just watching, right? So if you are coding or you are watching, just take out your notes and take all of these things in noted on yourself, because later on when you will come up with any other project, then obviously you need certain things and you need to remind all of these stuff, right? Like what you have done here, what are the process, what are the prerequisite, what are the entire like software or something that you need to be downloaded first. So just note down all this progress so you can just refer it anytime later on, right? So just take out your notes and note it down and just ping me here only on the chat box like you just got it done. Are you guys painting on my screen? Wow, wow. Done, done, done. Perfect, 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 perfect. Okay, ready. Ha, 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 ha. Perfect. Now just take out your notes now. Let's note down what are the prerequisite and what are the requirements that we are going to move forward with all of these, right? So firstly is the Node.js, of course. You need to download this node environment in your system. Simply just download it and just next, 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 as we do in Windows. And if you are on any other OS, like suppose Mac or Linux, then just follow their instructions and you will be done with that. Then the next is VS Code. Of course, there are people who prefer Sublime Text or maybe something else, but you can go with that. But in this session, I'll go with my favorite one, VS Code, of course. Okay, so here also the same way, download this code and then you will be done with it. Hey host, I think you are drawing something on my screen. Can you please remove it, Bhava or someone? It's really annoying anyways. What I'm doing. Undo, or erase maybe. Yeah, okay. Okay, I did it. It's fine. Perfect. Now, the moment you set up your node environment, you can just go to your terminal, maybe cmd, and just type node -v. You would see certain version here, so that just to make it confirm that yes, your node environment is successfully set up. And let's go here. This is VS Code, and here we will be coding along everything. And before moving forward to set up the node project, just create a like anywhere you feel like. Just create a short of a folder like Zomato clone or something you want. Also, we'll be also setting up something like GitHub. Also make a new repository, because all the codes that we'll be doing here, I'll share everything. Yes, public. Okay. The license is not needed. Yeah, this is required for node. Where is node? Here we go. Create a repository. Perfect. All we need is just this link. We'll be using it later on. Now just go ahead and create a folder. You can note it down, and if you are doing it with me, that's cool. And within this folder, what you need to do is the terminal. If you are using git bash or something else, or maybe the regular one, you can just open it right away. Git bash. Perfect. Okay. Give me 1 minute, guys. I'm just okay. Now, okay, so there are multiple processes we can move forward to this process. Like suppose we can just, I can just go
Sir,
ahead and
sorry to interrupt. So sorry to interrupt in the middle. Sir, many students are requesting that can we please slow down the speed of teaching a bit?
work slow, go slow. Okay. This is the node version. I'm fine. Mistaken node, done it, sure, disconnected, repair it. Okay. So again, you need two things. Okay, let me just go to the browser again. What you needed, just search node, and here is the node page. Go to the download page, or maybe you can download it from here. Download wherever you want, and then just install it. It's a simple process, as we all do. And the second thing you need is VS Code. How did this window open? What after creating folder? Oh man. How did this window open? What does that mean? I'm not sure if you are a Windows user, if you're maybe you are a Mac user. If you're a Mac user, then there are different process. Like suppose the same way we'll be doing the same way, but the download process is a bit different in Mac. And what you can do is just follow along the instructions they have after creating a folder in the middle of the class. We'll get the code after class. Of course, you will get the code. That's why I've just created this repository, and I'll also share with you that how you can get this code on your local machine for Mac users. Yes, you can follow the instructions just like this. You can click here and go for Mac OS, and then as we do on Mac for Windows. Okay, perfect. This is what I need to close. I guess. Wait, yeah, perfect. I was on coding, no, on folder. Now, wherever you want to set up this project, just create a folder as in Zomato clone. And if you don't want to create it right now, it's fine. I'll just share the repository and you can just import all the codes all along. So in this folder, I guess this window you were talking about, right? Wait, let me just close it again. There are two ways of opening your opening your terminal, like just right away. Actually, this is Windows 11, so maybe there is a bit of confliction here. You can open your terminal as we do in the specific folder. So I'm using the regular one. This is the PowerShell one. One moment. But I'm going to go with git bash, and all are same. This is just personal preference. Shift right key for Windows 10. Okay. So here, I was like, what we can do is we can just go ahead and type all along the codes and everything. But the way we want to go ahead is with the documentation, so that you understand how we should move forward and the way we need to create this get a starting guide for Node.js. So this is the way we created. There's a simple code, but again, we are going to write it. No, this is not at all clear. I need to go ahead and literally show you how the code really works. So if you have already installed Node.js, so this particular code should work on your machine. Too much fast. Okay. Can we directly use VS Code to clone GitHub repo? Yes, you can. I'll be just sharing a GitHub repo link right now, and you can just import it from there. You can import the entire code, of course. Okay. So on your terminal, what you need to write is npx init. That's all. Again, you can note it down, npx init. I think I need to increase the font a bit. I guess this works, right? Perfect. Okay, so just type npx init. What this does is this just creates your node application on the specific folder you have just created. Npm init, now this will just ask some of the queries like what you want to name your app and so on. Npx no, type wrong. Npm init. Yeah, so it was npm init again. Okay, so npm init, not x, it was my bad. And now you just code along with me, like suppose package.name, like what you want to name this particular application. We are going with the default one, Zomato clone. Then the version, of course, the default one. Description, if you want to put any, entry point index.js, and we are going to go with the default one only. Test command, git repository. So here we need to put something. You guys don't need to put, but I need, because later on, I'm going to share this with you. Author not needed, but we can put something like maybe license. This is okay. So there's just asking that all this details you have just put, and again we can edit all of these later on, and we'll be doing with some of them. Yes, that's it. Now if you just go to the folder and see what happened, this has just created a package.json, and this is the entire this is the major skeleton for the entire node application, which needs to be created before moving forward. And now what we are going to do, so just close your terminal and open the VS Code, close terminal, open VS Code, and then hold this particular folder and paste it there. Or you can also do one thing like open folder, and then you can just redirect wherever you have just added that folder. But we are going to go with this one. Trust. Perfect. Now we are on our VS Code, and now what we are going to do is we are going to create our node application and just hello route. CMD not found, so CMD or git bash, which one preferable? Okay, anyone you can go with, git bash or CMD, anyone you can go with, because we are going to create a simple project, so it's fine. Nothing in keyword IG. Okay, thanks. Or what to type the keyword. Okay, not much queries. Now we can move forward, and on VS Code, just go to terminal, and this is the same terminal, by the way, new terminal, and here you will get this. So we'll be working few stuff here. Let's start with, okay, let me just show you the package.json first. I prefer the terminal to be on the right side. Yes, this is the right way of handling it. Now, okay, is it visible now, or shall I just zoom a bit more? No, this is too much. Any extension for VS Code? Oh man, those things are later on. Sorry, npm index. Okay, so npm. Okay, let me just write it down. Npm init was the code. Npm init, you can note it down. Npm init creates the node application, and then it just creates this bunch of details in package.json, and these what we are going to move forward with. Okay, again. Okay. Okay, so as we had already decided, we'll go with index.js. Now here, click this one, new file, or you can also click on right, click new file. We'll name it the same we already had decided, index.js. And here we'll be coding everything, like the home page and the route and everything. So firstly, we need few more packages from npm which are going to be something like Express firstly. Okay, so this is something we need to read a bit more. Let's go to the documentation, but before that, let me show you what Express is. So we are going to work with Node.js, of course, but if you write the entire server and all the codes and everything, so the way, like suppose we can create this entire server and everything also on JavaScript, right? But why are not we doing this on core JavaScript? Why are we using these libraries and frameworks? There are few reasons, right? So the thing is, like suppose if you as in if you're creating a certain method which needs to write 100 lines of codes, and then on the other side if you do the same thing on Node.js, so in Node.js it helps to write the same code in one line. That's it. So that's why we use frameworks and libraries and so on, and this also offers a bit more advanced feature that does not belong to JavaScript yet. And Express, so the same way, Express is framework that belongs to Node.js. Now, the same way we write hundreds of code in JavaScript and we write 10 lines of code in Node.js, and Express also optimized a lot. Like Express helps us to write the same code in one line, and it also optimized a lot. So let's go with Express, and how we go with it. Let's just go to the documentation. And we are going all along with the documentation just to make it more clear. And, so that you understand that how you need to move forward. Like suppose tomorrow I won't be there to help you out that write this, and write this. What you can do is just go to the documentation of Express.js and you can code all along by yourself. And of course, documentation is most important thing, because anything you are learning, anything you are working on, like even tomorrow, if you'll be working on certain technologies which you have not been learned before, so what you can do is you can just go to their official documentations and code all along with it, and maybe get more advanced knowledge to use that technology further. So here is this code we already had used. Now this is the one we need to use. Npm install package, Npm install express. Now again, this say we don't need anyway. Where is the code? Npm install express. So this is the way we install all the packages that belongs to Node. Like we call it npm. On npm is basically Node package manager, and there is also a directory. Let me just show you. This is the directory, and here you can find everything, like all the packages and everything, and also the proper documentation. Like suppose the same way we are using it here, we can find the documentation even from here, like how to install it. Simply just copy this npm I as in install the same way, and then these are the basic codes that we are going to write, of course. So let's just install the package first, npm install express. And what this will do is this will just add, let me show you. Okay, so here are dependencies, and all the packages we'll be using. This will just add certain dependencies here. And also if you notice one more thing, which is node modules. So on local, what it does is this express package has been installed on your local machine on this for this particular project. And all those are just right here. This is a huge directory, but we never play with it anyway. And like suppose all this express requirement, like express methods and everything are just here, and all the packages that we'll be downloading all along. So everything would be under this node modules, and this will be in local only. And when we upload it to the server, then we don't upload it for sure. So on server, based on this package.json, server downloads all these packages and then go along. But again, you don't need to focus on that. That is just for the basic knowledge. Okay, so we have installed Node. Now let's code how we can move forward with it. We also need to do one more thing, get init. Perfect. Okay, so this is the simple code that we need to create, but we are not going to copy and paste. Let's just create our own const express require express const and we need to listen it, but again, before listening, we need to define port where the server needs to listen. Now here, what we are doing is we are just creating a simple server to run upon, and let's define 2000 for now. And this app has various methods, but what we are going to do is listen this. App.listen, we need to pass port, but not in that way. Port and callback. Console.log server is connected. Okay, so what we have just done here, we are importing Express module, and this is the way every time we import module in ES5, we are not using ES6 here because Node has a standard ES5 modules all along. So this is the way we import any packages or maybe the local files or anything if you have learned on JavaScript modular sections and everything. And this is the express method we'll be using on app. And then we are defining port and we are listening this. So before creating any endpoint, let's just run our code, but this won't run. Why? We haven't decided any scripts yet. Now, after writing this code, what you need to do is you need to go to the script and create what's kind of a script you want. So here, node index.js. But before moving forward to this, let me show you what we are actually doing. We can write something like node index.js and server is connected. That's it. So this way, like we can just write it on the terminal only, node index.js, but we are not doing it on terminal. We are writing a sort of a script here, and the same way we can use the script like npm start, npm run start. The same thing, right? But if we can use this code node index.js directly, why are we adding this on script and then we are using that script? Again, we are coming to that point. Why? Because if you run this server, then this server is just running at a single time, and then if you're changing something on your code, maybe suppose C. So the server is connected right now. Suppose if you have deleted port, now the port is not defined, but again there is no error because server is not live. Server is running for sure, but server is not live. But we need to create something on live so that we can code all along, and the server needs to continue, the server needs to keep running. So for that, what we can do is, exactly. There is a guy Abhishek. Yes, we need Nodemon. Express is compulsory. What if like safe flag like this cmd and express safe? What if I install express by using safe flag? Okay, so the same way, let's go to there only. So if we install a safe flag, actually what we used to do is when node was on maybe a 9 or 10, so at that time we used to use this like save or no save. So this save, what this used to do is this used to save here in this node modules. Like if you're downloading it here, like if you're installing that package without saving it, like without save flag, then this is only going to add in the dependencies, but not actually saving it on your local machine. So we used to have we had to use the save flag, but now without this save flag, we are already saving it in the node modules thanks to updated node. Now next hello world, we can follow all along like this, and maybe we can go anywhere else also, but there is one more thing we need to add, which is Nodemon. As we were discussing, what we need to do is we need to run this server live, right? Not one at a time. We need to run this live. And to do that, there is a node package, which is Nodemon. Now here is a simple line, not this one, actually their website is a bit clear. Here is the website. Again, I don't know who have done this. Please don't paint on my screen. It's really disturbing now. Okay, so Nodemon reload automatically, and that's all this node is about. This just reloads all the dependencies, all the codes all along, and it just keep running. Let me just show you how it actually does. Now Nodemon we can install with G flag, and now I'm going to tell you why we should use G flag and when we should be using it. So this G flag is basically, it installs globally. Like suppose if you're installing without G flag, as we already had used here while installing Express without any flag. So this Express is installed only for these particular module, only for these particular project, right? But what we are going to do is we are going to install this Nodemon into our entire machine, so that next time we don't need to install Nodemon, it would be automatically installed for this, for any other project we'll be creating. So let's install Nodemon globally. I already had installed, but again, just for tutorial purposes, let me install this. And this will add a dev dependencies maybe. Perfect. See, so I have installed this on globally. That's why it has not been added on dependencies. Why? Because it is already there globally, and we need to understand this. This is not specific to any packages. Now, let's. Okay, so now the way we were running a server is simply node express.js, right? But this time we are not going, we need to learn this. Oh, one moment. No. Okay, so the way we are using it, we were just writing like node index.js. Now we need to run this server live. So for that, what we can do is we need to run this like nodemon index.js. That's all we need to do, and this will run the server live. And then if we do any changes, like suppose if we just remove this port, and then this will throw an error, this port is not found, reference error, port is not defined. That's all we need. So now every time we are not going to write this nodemon index.js, right? And for that only, we'll be using this on script. And on various projects, we might use different scripts, like maybe dev start, maybe something else. So again, you will come across those scenarios. That's why we write all this in script only. So let's just add this nodemon, and here npm run start. That's it. Now our server is successfully running. Now let's use this server somewhere, like let's create a hello route just to make it more usable now. So we have already done this. We have already done this. Here is the routing part. And these are going to be your task, by the way, which we will of course discuss. Okay, get, post, and put, and there are many. Let's just create get first, and let's understand what this actually does. Let's use it directly. Don't worry, I will explain what we are actually doing. Legendary hello world. Perfect. Now, what we are actually doing it here. Okay, let me just throw what we have done and Nodemon install, but Nodemon index.js command not working. Okay, we can resolve that later on Telegram. What's the error you are facing? Okay, there are already helpful people. That's really great. You know, you are literally helping each other. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. Postman, no, we can go to the browser only because there's a GET request. So HTTP localhost and this. Okay, so here is our hello world, right? Now we need to understand many things. Please focus here. So what we have just done, we have just wrote these particular code, and now we are going to the browser and we have typed localhost 2000, and here we are getting hello world. What is actually happening? Now, what Node does, Node gives us the ability to create the router and then what you want to router and to respond something. These are two parameters. Like, okay, let's understand by syntax only. So here on app, which is actually express, we have different parameters, like suppose get, or I don't know, you'll find it here or not. Okay, let's just go to the documentation. That is much more easier to understand. Okay, like get, post, put, delete, and there is also patch, but these four are the default, like these four are the common routes that we'll be handling all along the project. Now, I don't know if you have heard or not, we call something like CRUD operation, like CRUD operations. Let me show you what it actually does. Now we can find it here only. Okay, this CRUD operation is basically create, read, update, and delete. So this CRUD operation we do with the database. Like suppose we need to create something, maybe the user, let's consider user, and in this example maybe we need to create a new user to the database, so we use something like post. Now suppose we need to get that particular user returned, then we need to use get. Now suppose what we need to update that particular user, maybe the user name was Azhar, now we need to change it to maybe Avinav, and then we use put. And suppose if you want to delete that particular user, then we use delete, right? And again, these, suppose you can there are more to it, and we will of course discuss in details, but here what other stuff are. And these, the first parameter in this particular method, we are passing two stuff, right? Let's now just go to the code. Now here we are passing two things. First is this and string, and the second is a callback. So what this string defines, so this string is basically where this particular method, whatever we are writing in this callback, where should this work. So this is only slash means the home, like this, the home. Now suppose if we give something like maybe hello and save it, then this is not going to work, cannot get, because we have not defined any home. Now if we just go to hello, and the hello world is there. So whatever the string we define here, this is going to be our route, and for this particular route, and this is going to be the method, this get, post, put, and delete are the method for that particular route. So for this hello route with get method, please use these parameter. these callback. Now what we are doing in this callback, firstly, what we are actually receiving in this callback. So in this callback, we are receiving two things, request and response. So we will discuss more about request. Request is basically what we are getting from the server. Like suppose if we are fetching this, right? The moment we click here, we are sending certain details to these particular route, like here, right? Let me just log it for you, just to make you more comfortable with it. Res. Okay. No, not res, actually request. Okay, so what is request? Let's just understand the request first. And again, we are going to work with all of these. So these fundamental stuff we need to understand. Like every time you write any route, you have to face these things, right? So these are the fundamentals that we need to understand in a deeper level. That's where we are extending this discussion on this. So now what is the request? Now suppose the server has restarted. Now if we are sending here something, the moment I type enter, I'm sending certain details to these parameter to expecting to return something. The moment I hit enter, here is the log. Now let's check what we got here. This is the request, right? And in this request, there are so many details we are getting, right? So within all of these details, obviously we will be working with some of the details, but mostly what we are going to work with is this params, query, and there are one more, body. Body. Okay, maybe not here, but we'll be working with those. Params, request, and body. And again, what are these params and requests? We'll be discussing a bit more on this, again, along with the documentation. Now let's just understand what is res. So again, in short brief, what is request? The moment we are sending, like maybe from front end or anywhere, the moment we are sending, like the moment we are trying to fetch this router from somewhere, right? So we are sending some default parameters, some default details to this particular route, and those things we receive here on request. Now let's see what is response. But before moving forward to response, let me know if you have any queries on the chat box. Not more than that. Clear. Policy. Current user is CMD. Once more, sir. Okay, once more what? I'm not singing along here. For that, you can come on live. I guess even if we use Nodemon, then too, we have to work on port before deployment. And if we use the start, maybe we don't need to do that. Okay, for deployment part, of course, we'll be coming along. Clear. Okay, any other doubt till now, till request? So is Nodemon used to create a listener only? No, Nodemon is actually not creating any listener. Nodemon, what Nodemon is doing, Nodemon will just run any specific node file constantly. That's all a node. That's all Nodemon does. So server is connected, but not showing anything in browser. Of course, you won't be able to see anything on the browser because you need to write these particular code to get something on the browser. I have one doubt. Why are not we using ES6 syntax here? Okay, we are not going to use ES6 syntax because even till now, Node itself has not been friendly enough with ES6 syntax. So like we can use ES6 syntax like on filter or maybe map or maybe something else like although, but like importing and exporting, all of this fundamental stuff, we have to use ES5 till now. Like we can use it, but Node is not friendlier. Like, let me just show you, no? See, if we just convert this to ES6, right? What it does, see, this says import we are using cannot use import statement outside a module. So this is how this is, I know this is weird, but this is how Node has configured till now. Maybe later on Node would be enough mature to configure with ES6 syntax. It will simply print hello world, doing the same whatever what argument, how to run this on browser. Server not connected. Can you do it again? How to do it? Yeah, 2000 is constant port. Getting error in Nodemon step. Okay, for error, we'll be referring to the Telegram group. And again, whatever error you are guessing, you are getting, or anything, we'll be discussing more on Telegram for sure. But for now, let's just move forward with response. I guess there is not much, like most of them are clear. Now on response, let's just see what response we are going to send. Again, let's hit enter and see what our response. So this is the response object, and with this response object, these are the details that we are actually getting. Right now, these are the details, but these within this, we'll be sending something like, suppose now response, let's discuss a bit more deeper on response. Response is something like what we are actually returning. Like suppose if someone came to this particular route, and what we are returning them, like suppose if we don't send anything and we just return it, right? We are returning, but we are not sending any response. We are returning from this particular function, but we are not sending anything in response. Let's see what happens. This is what happens. You are not sending any response, so this will constantly load and load and load, but it is not going to work at the end because you are not sending the response. So if someone is coming to this particular route and they are constantly waiting that you will be sending something in response, but we are not sending anything. So never do that. Always send response. Even if you are getting any error, send the response with the error or anything, but send response, else your API is always going to stuck. Now, response has multiple parameters, but we use only these two, like status 200 and send. This status 200, what this defined is something like, obviously there are, let me just show you, status codes and images. Okay, so these are the status codes. Of course, you should know all these just for the sake of knowledge. So in 100 parameters, if it is 101 or 105, then it is informational. And this is actually a standard status code that we use to differentiate what are we sending in response. Like suppose if you're sending something, like if you're sending the error, like if this got error or something, then we can send something like client error, like front end error or something. We send 401, 404. And so on, and even 500 error, 501. So all those are server errors, then these, and 200 as in success. So these status code, of course, you can learn more about it all along. You need to learn by yourself. And these, of course, you can learn more. But we'll be using it here. Like suppose when we'll be sending client error, we'll be sending 401 maybe, or if you're sending any server error, maybe our server is not working or something, we'll be sending 500. So that's it. We have created hello route at the very first, and then we are creating the server, and the server is live already. Now this is the time to structure our project and to move forward to the actual scenario, what we had decided yesterday. Like we had decided to create certain modules, like suppose a user module, category module, restaurant module, right? So we need to create all those modules and create very specific route for all those modules, like getting the user, creating the user, and all those, right? We'll be creating that route first. We'll be creating that module first, like in the folder structure, and then we'll be creating that route, and then within that route we'll be creating some more like functionalities within this method. Obviously, if someone is trying to create a user, maybe here is user, or maybe this just for the sake of example, we won't be sending something log, right? What we'll be doing is we'll be saving the user to the database, right? So this is what we'll do. Obviously, we'll also create the database and everything. We'll also set up all those things. but then we'll be saving the user to the database. If someone is like maybe delete, so we'll be deleting the user from the database. So these are the actions. These are just, we are just trying to comment it, but what action we'll be doing, but we'll be writing the entire functions and everything. So now this is the last thing we are going to do today. Let's just create the entire folder structure, how we are going to move forward with. So we'll be adding more files to this root folder, but before that, what I prefer and most of the developer, to create the entire system to the source folder. So just create a source folder, move your index finger to the source folder, and of course the server is going to dump. Oh, we have moved, I guess. No, we have not moved. Yes, move, please. Yes, of course the server is going to dump, because on package.json we had defined that index.js, but it is not on root. So let's just define src/index.js. Yes, I have decided the same thing. Just okay, perfect. Khushbu, you are trying to write something on my screen. Please, there's a comment box, use that. Do not write anything on my screen. It's fine. Okay, now on source folder we have index. Now just let's just create the structure that we had decided yesterday. We had decided there would be certain models. We had decided there would be certain modules, and on models there would be something like users. There would be something like maybe categories. There would be items. So these are the models. Now, of course, we'll add more to this according to the yesterday's discussion. And the same way we'll be also adding this on modules, user, categories. And this is again the standards way that we structure this. Again, the organization you will be working with, so they might use something different, but almost the same way. They might use like view and controller way, and there are also different ways, but this is what I have found. Like even I have used many, maybe not many actually, 3 to 4 different folder structures, but this one I have found the best one till now. Maybe tomorrow if I get something new or maybe much efficient than this one, I'll be moving to that one. But this one I have found more efficient and more usability is here. So I have decided to go with this one. Like these are just the standard folder structures that we'll be using. And in a very basic way, let's just discuss why are we using these models and modules and so on, and what would be the functionalities. There would be more stuff to this, like on SRC routes. So we'll be defining all those routes here and so on, right? So let's define, okay, let's just on modular, right? So on modular, let's just create a user controller. Today let's just create a simple one, and for the sake of creating this structure, and then I'll post this to the Git repository, and then you can get it from there and you can create your own folder structure the same way that I did. But today, the way we are going to move forward is like this. Index.js and JS. Perfect. So here what we'll be defining all the routes. So what route we'll be actually defining? Let's create the route first. Const express require express router is going to be express dot router. So this is going to be our router. This is the way we use it. Like last time what we had decided to use is something like this, right? We were using directly like app.get, app.post, and so on. But this time we are not going to go in that way because uh, we don't want to use it directly. We want to create a proper structure to this, like the route should be in a different place, the controller should be in a different place, and so on, right? So all this needs to be segregated in a proper way, and for that we'll be using the router method from Express. So the way we use this is something like router dot, we have everything here, like suppose get and post and so on. So maybe here for get we'll be using something like um, uh, uh, um, just home page, and here we need that parameter, of course. But for now, let's just use this and create that parameter here. Const maybe exports dot let's name it get, or no, get user, a function where we'll be getting request, response, and so on. Response don't send, and the user. Now we can import this to the route the way we did const get user, but there are a lot of things here to discuss, but that comes into the JavaScript part, not like this. Now we are importing from the local module, of course. So the way we import the packages are this, that we define this directly as a string. But if we are importing this get user from user controller, like from a different file, then there we define something like this, exports dot get user, and we'll be also defining this like suppose export dot delete user, and then the same way, right? We'll be also using this all along. Okay, so exports, yes. So we'll be using all these like exports, and all the methods we'll be defining here. And on router here, what we'll be doing, we'll be importing all this. And the way we import this is just the way we import from directories, like this, like one if it is in the same folder, then one dot and the slash. If we go above this folder, then these like double dot and more above like this, and so on. Again, these are the basic from JavaScript. Now let's go to the controller, and get user is there. Now if we just find like delete user, so delete user is also able to import. Now we got get user. Now just define this parameter right here. That's it. So in router, what we could have done is we could have just, request, response, and all the callback we could have defined here. But again, the method and everything you will be doing here will forget how many routes are there and what route we need to configure and so on, right? So instead, what we did is we have defined this controller in a different file, and then here we are. So as I told you yesterday, we were deciding like what are the controllers, what are the modules, what are the routes. So these are the way we use it, and these are the optimized way we are going forward with now. So that's all. Now we need to import this like the same way we did. Exports dot this route. That's it. Now this router we need to use here. Let's just define index and user router, right? User router require from one file above. Let's go to the modules, and in modules, in modules, go to the user and go to the router. And from there, we'll be getting this user router. But again, the way we are exporting from there, we could have used something like this, like router, right? But what we are doing is, let's just use in that way, user router. But this will throw an error, I guess. No, we are not using it anyway. So this one. Okay, so we are importing as user router, and we are exporting as user router, which has found. And now we'll be using require express. Now there is a trick. Let me just show you once. Require, not actually require express router, and then router dot. But we are not getting it here. I have no idea. Hold on, what happened? Is my screen visible? I'm not sure. I don't think. What just happened? Oh, this is not the way. Is it visible now?
No, sir, it is not visible.
Why is it so? Wait. Now?
Yeah, now it is.
Is it? Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we were using this router here, and this use is not there. Just, I guess we want to use something like this. Or you can import it from there. And here this. Okay. Now we'll be defining a different models, like suppose a user model, then item, then categories, and then we'll be defining all those. Like suppose in user route, we'll be defining all the actions, all the methods for particular user, like maybe get user, delete user, and so on. We'll be defining here. The controller would be here on controller. And then on route, there would be different route for different method for that particular user. And then in the root route, like this is the main route we'll be defining, and there we'll be defining this, so that we understand how many modules we are using for the particular routes. Like maybe here this is for user, this would be for items, and so on. And we'll be defining all of those right here. Exports dot router. Maybe we can do something like module.exports router. Perfect. No, I guess we are doing something wrong. So this is the basic structure we'll be doing. And now instead of, no, let it be there, app dot use. Now last time we used get, right? But this time we are using with the router method from Express. So we'll be using this, like use. And let's export our router. Routes slash. And if we have decided, like if we have defined it on index only, then we can just import the folder, and for in that particular folder, that index would be imported automatically. And we can define it here. Now we will get, of course. Required is not defined. Yes, because there is a typo mistake here. Required. Cannot push. What do you mean by that? Okay, maybe we have done something wrong. So this happens when you don't create the project before the tutorial. And what I decided to go with you guys, like we'll be just keep learning, and we'll be building the entire project all along. I won't be building it before, and then I'll just show you the codes, that these are the codes that we need to write the way. And these are the, we are writing a very basic code here, but we are getting this kind of errors. So this happens, like, even if you are experienced developer, even if you ask any experienced developer, this literally happens. And even some of you are still there, this literally happens. You write a simple code, maybe ABC, and that is supposed to be ABC, but again, this throw error, and now you are stuck. But here we are not stuck. We'll be coding, and we are actually out of time. And I don't know, shall we do it today or not? Let's do it tomorrow. I'll be importing this to your GitHub repository, and then tomorrow we'll be solving this bug first, and then we'll be coding all along. But the what was our motive is to create this proper structure. Like we'll be defining index. In index, we'll be just creating this server first, and then we'll be using this model and modules. In models, we'll be defining oh, we haven't defined anything, but again, that is related to database, like the database method, as I told you yesterday. On modules, we'll be defining all those schema types, and then we'll be using that database transactions we'll be using in models. And then on modules, we'll be writing the routers and the controllers the way we wrote just now. Okay, so I'll be sharing the repository link on Telegram for sure, and then we can move forward. And I guess that is it for today. Yes, I'll share the repo link for sure. Anything we are missing here? Yes, we are missing your task, of course. That is the main reason why we are here. Just remove this. Okay, so you can learn from anywhere, but the guy will only tell you, the instructor or anyone who would only tell you as much as they are literally coding in the very moment, or as much as the guy have experienced on their job life. But here we don't want to stick to those parameters only. What we want to move forward is to learn more deeper and more than the instructors. So the same way what I did is to read the documentations. That's all. So what you can do is just go to this express.com, expressjs.com, and then just read out to this. Like, see, now we can just go through the way we have learned. We have just defined all this, not all these, but we know what it is actually doing, like what would this actually define for, why for post, why put, and so on. And you can also read out all of these things. And then if you go to the next, there are routers, like suppose this way, we'll be doing this tomorrow. And oh, these are the paths. These are a bit more advanced, but again, that is perfect for you. We were deciding something routes, right? Yes. So these are the routes, and as we all know, the coding and watching, like, I don't know what type of learner you guys are. It is very specific to person. So if you are a reader, and even if you're not a reader, guys, if you're coming into this industry, you have to read a lot. You have to read a lot to get the deeper understanding on every single concept, to start doing it from now. It is not just coding and making the entire structure and everything. You have to read a lot. As much as you will read, that much you will gain the knowledge, and that much you will get like, suppose if you have the deeper knowledge on any perspective, then you can like, you can find the solution better than even your seniors, that even I have faced many times. So the routing and like, as we know what routing actually defines, but these are the official documentations and everything. You can get the deeper knowledge after reading this. I'll just share all these documentations and all this. Like, you can just go to the guide and routing, middlewares and everything, of course, will come all along. But just go to routing and learn through this. Just try to read out all this and understand what this actually defines, what it actually is, so that if you have the advanced level of knowledge, like, so then you can understand, like, tomorrow what we'll be doing. Let me just share this link even here. So tomorrow, of course, we'll be creating more routes, and then we might go to the database structures and everything. But again, if you would already have the advanced knowledge on theory, like after reading all of these things, then it would be much more easier for you to learn. You know why? Because if you have read all this, so you have the theoretical knowledge, right? And tomorrow, or maybe the day after tomorrow, and so on, we will be doing all of these things in a practical way, right? So then it will be very easy for you to grasp all of these like terminologies and all of this syntax and everything. So just go out and read all along. And the Express documentation is all you need for now. And I guess for now, that's pretty much it. Where is our host?
Yes, sir. Nisha this side.
Again, we got late today, huh? I don't know,
That's completely fine.
when we start on this, no, like, I just go with the flow. I don't even was the
Yeah, backend itself is extremely interesting.
yeah. But for that only, the students are also like, or not even students, everyone is just getting bored, no, that all
Yeah,
kitna padhai
actually,
hai.
sir, they have to install so many things, and
Yes,
maybe
yes.
it is
That's why I
first time
told,
for us. Yeah, exactly.
right, that's why I told to take the document, like, take the note and everything, and then just do it all along. And if there is anything happening, if you are getting any error or
Mm,
anything, just ping on Telegram, and of course I am there.
yes. Okay, so I guess this is it, sir.
Yes, perfect. Okay, then see you tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for such an
Thank
informative session.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
So we thank you all. We appreciate your presence. So you can get in touch with us and follow us on our Instagram handles. So this was the day 3 of 15 days Mern Stack Bootcamp organized by Geeks for Geeks in collaboration with Skillvalley. So we have the feedback form link as well as your attendance. You can fill in the forms. Forms will be closed within 30 minutes. So just pace up. And this is your host, Tanvi, signing off for the day. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, so let me tell you one more important thing, guys. So many of you are asking about recording of this session. So give me a second, I'll be dropping an email. So there you guys have to mail to get the recording of this session. So hang on for a second. Shreyanshu, could you please write down the mail, please?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So guys, there you have to mail and you'll get the recording of the respective sessions. And apart from that, as Tanvi told you guys that um, filling the feedback form is extremely important in terms of certificate. And yeah, I can. Shranshu, have you dropped the mail? Yeah. So guys, the mail is in the chat box. So Yeah. Okay, I think this is it for today. Thank you everyone for joining. See, somebody is asking for the feedback form. Shranshu, can you please share the feedback form again, the link of the feedback form? Yes. So, guys, if anybody is still left, they can fill it. And to get the recording of the session, we have given you the mail IDs as well. So this is it, guys. Thank you everyone for joining.